I had somebody enforce etiquette on me once at the casino, and this guy was the table police. He may have been like the chief of the table police.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris, the Dice Degen, and Craig from Old Bay Craps. You're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our own experiences into the world of gambling and share stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a recreational gambler, a seasoned pro, or just curious what the buzz is all about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 53 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you will never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we today?
If I had a tumbler, it would be straight bourbon because I am exhausted, and I'm exhausted of the process of getting the house ready to sell. It's exhausting. I didn't think we'd paint the entire house. I thought we were just going to spot paint, but when it's been 26 years, you can't match the paint that you originally put up on the wall because they don't make it anymore. So we are going with the best we can, and it's winding up going, oh, there's another wall. There's another wall. There's another wall. I'm exhausted, dude. Like this process sucks. So I wish I had a tumbler full of straight bourbon as you did last week. But you know, we're gonna go with we're going back to basics. Bullet bourbon with a little bit of Diet Coke.
There you go. It's a good one to go to. My tumbler's actually broken. I'm trying to fix it on the air, live. No, I got it. See, you wanna know how good Mrs. Degen is? When she cleans the tumblers, she like pops out the little slidey thing and everything. She gets in everywhere.
Looking cruddy.
Yeah, she gets every little thing. When I clean it, that shit's not coming off. Like I'll I'll angle that thing 30 different ways to try to get the soap to go into it, and then like shake it around and do whatever I got to do. But nah, legend. She's legendary for that. But now it's on properly. Yeah, the moving thing, I think I said in a previous episode, I do not envy what you got to go through at all. I'm glad it's going well, but I can understand why you're exhausted and how you're exhausted, because that shit is not fun at all.
I think part of it is we're under the clock. So it feels
Yeah.
like the NFL draft first round, and the Ravens are on the clock here, and the OBC is on the clock. So we've got tomorrow night, half of Friday, because we have to sleep because we're going to South Carolina to look at houses on the weekend. Come back.
There you go.
We have one day to do like a thorough clean, and then the next day to get the house the way they wanted to look for photos on Wednesday morning. So we are out of time. And
Busy.
it's one of those where is that wall okay with just one coat? Yeah. It's just like
Yeah.
there are going to be spots around the house that were just going to be explained by it's 26 years. What do you want?
Yeah. Here's the thing too, though. Like, I don't think people, at least I don't think people should be looking at it in that way, that like this wall's not painted, because to be honest, I mean, how many people come into a house and they're going to change the colors of it anyway? Like, I know when we bought this house, like one of the first things we did besides knocking a wall down and putting one up, was, I guess, second project was painting, and like every room basically changed color. Not that we didn't like what was here, but you know, people have their preferences and all that kind of stuff, and they want to paint, you know, what they want and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, well, I guess you'll see. It's always interesting to see what happens after a house. I know, like, you know, my in-laws just moved and we moved them this weekend. Still recovering partially from that. But like the amount of changes that have already happened, crazy. And it's been like 3 days.
You know, and part of this is, if you notice, I look a lot less redder than I normally do because I'm stuck in a room that doesn't have faders for the lights. So the only light on is the podcast light. So I'm stark white, you know, that's why I had to wear the black shirt and get the black background, you know, but
You're
Yeah, I've
looking
been
almost as
relegated to
pale
a
as me
room.
on camera.
I've been relegated to a room that has like no baffles, no sounding, like everything's bouncing off the walls. I say, "Hey, Chris," and I hear, "Hey, Chris," 2 seconds later. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. The folks at home won't know any different because I can hear it, but once the edits go down, no one's gonna know the difference.
that's the magic of the DJ.
The magic. I don't know if it's the magic of me. It might be the magic of the software, but yeah, I can't take credit for that piece of it. But no, yeah, it's exciting. And how many houses you got lined up for this weekend? Or you don't know yet? Or just one?
Anywhere, no, anywhere between. I think we asked if we could see at least 8 for the time that we're going to be there because we
Okay.
are there for a short amount of time, pretty much only one day to fully look at things from like noon to whenever, and then anything like we want to look at a second time, maybe the next day, and then we jet. So it's a very short trip. It sucks. It's because it's 16 hours round trip,
Yeah.
but so I decided I was like, you know what? If we're going to do this, right, let's go out a little bit in style, right? So instead of like gassing our car up, we've rented the Ford F-150, right?
Oh, there you go.
And we got the bed and breakfast, even if it's for one night,
There you go.
you know,
There you go.
the bed and breakfast suite. So yeah, you got to do it in style, when you do stuff like this. So it'll cost you up front, but you'll make it on the back end when you sell the house. So
Yeah. Are you looking forward to driving the truck?
I am.
Yeah.
uh the only truck I've driven was when I drove to AC, but that was a Toyota Tacoma, which is a much smaller truck. And then the
Yeah.
only other time I drove a 2025 Dodge Ram Laramie
Yeah.
truck, and that was when my daughter had her accident, and that was the rental. So,
Nice.
but even that felt like you were driving a tank down the road.
Yeah. Well, if you wanna feel like you're really driving a tank, I don't know if you're gonna be doing your moving or you're hiring people to do your moving, but we were moving my in-laws, got a 29-foot U-Haul, and I was driving that thing. I was actually driving a tank. Like, some people who I know a lot of it's interesting. A lot of the people in the craps community, there are a lot of like truck drivers, so they're gonna be
Yeah,
like, well, DJ's a bitch. He was only driving a 29-foot truck, blah blah blah. Well,
try
guess what? When you drive
53.
a sports car, yeah, when you drive a sports car, going to a 29-foot truck is a lot different. All right.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was funny. The truck rode real nice. I liked driving it. It was a good
That's
truck.
good.
Big though. And like I mean, F-150 you don't have to worry about as much, but I do like watch every turn and like make sure I wasn't cutting them too close. And like in my car I can cut whatever turn I want because it's tiny. But this
Well, it's because
one
you drive
I
it
had
like
to
Mario Andretti. So
oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah, but I know how you like to say the Philly comes out in me sometimes.
it does.
Um, on Saturday, Craig, the Philly really
Oh,
came out in me.
I got. And was this part of the move in?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So, this is not really gambling related, but I was kind of gambling, I guess, with people's cars in my way. Um, so my in-laws' former neighbors are assholes. Hate them. Like,
oh.
that's the main reason they're moving. Um,
Do you think they deserve an award?
you know what? I was actually gonna save that award for something else tonight.
Oh shit.
But we're gonna give out 2 tonight, I think.
Oh, the double
2
FOS award.
double FOC/FOS awards. All right. Award number 1 goes to my in-laws' former neighbors. All right. Now, these people are not good people. They are scumbags, is what they are.
Oh,
They're
oh,
scumbags. But they have like and this is an exaggeration because some people are gonna be like, "Oh, DJ's exaggerating." I'm not exaggerating. There's 15 people living in like a 4-bedroom house, maybe
oh.
3-bedroom house.
Okay,
And that's not why they're scumbags. All right. I don't care whatever your living situation looks like. That's on you. And how you are as a human is why you are a scumbag. So,
definitely.
these people are, we're pretty sure they're drug dealers, but that's beside the point.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
the police are there regularly. But 15 people living in a house, there's like 20 cars, no lie, like 20 cars. And they decided to park up the street. Now, 29-foot U-Haul, pretty big and not as maneuverable as a normal car. Well, they decided to line the street, so I had to maneuver a lot. And then my father-in-law asked them, hey, can you move this Jeep out of the way? Because I was going to be very close to clipping it coming out of the driveway.
Right.
And I could only swing the turn so wide because there's a tree on the other side of the street. So father-in-law asked them if they would move the Jeep. They just ignore it, right? I'm like, all right, whatever, screw you, right? Then Mrs. Degen asked them, hey, can you guys move the Jeep? They look at her, look back at each other, and just, shrug their shoulders.
Bam, wrong move.
Oh,
Way wrong
now,
answer.
now I'm in the truck. My windows are down though. I'm in the truck because I'm trying to get out. And I literally looked at my father and was like, fuck it. If I hit this Jeep, that's on them. And I didn't hit the Jeep. They were all watching me pull this maneuver. But on the way out, after a very, very successful maneuver, they got nice hand gesture. They got the Philly wave.
Oh,
And a good riddance to them because never see those losers again.
definitely deserving of the award. Oh,
They
yeah.
are deserving of the award. They are deserving of the award. But Craig, like I said, there's 2 awards tonight.
Oh, shit.
This one does have to do with gambling because this has to do with betting. Did you happen to watch the World Cup final?
I did, and I was going to bring that up.
Fantastic, lovely. So, DGen did not lose bets. DGen won on the World Cup final.
Nice.
I had Spain. For those of you who want betting stuff, there's a Twitter account that I have that I post my picks on. It'll be linked down below if you want to go look. But Spain was given out as like a big play to win, yada, 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 whatever. Mind you, I'm moving while the World Cup final is going on. So that's a big sacrifice on my part.
Big sacrifice.
Big sacrifice. But in the truck, I had the game on, and then we ate lunch, and I had the game on during lunch. But the FOS award, Argentina. What the hell is wrong with you? First of all, I know that's how they play. A lot of ticky-tack fouls, a lot of stuff. Whatever. I don't hate that part. After the game, to be that disrespectful and to drop your character that low that you're fighting the Spanish players, listen, they beat you. Egypt should have beaten you. Okay? Hell, Cape Verde should have beaten you. Total uncalled for abomination by Argentina after the game. I was so disgusted watching what they were doing that my respect for Messi during that game went down a hell of a lot. All right. I still think he's a great soccer player. As a human being, that's questionable. Questionable at best. Because when he was talking to Mark Cucurella, and Cucurella put his hand up like this, which you're not allowed to do. It's an automatic red card typically. Messi went like a 3-year-old tattletale to his teacher, to the ref, and was like, did you see he just did this? He just did this? I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, you know you can't win unless you guys are up a man or the refs are helping you? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Win on your own merit. You guys haven't done shit all game. All right? You need some kind of help. It's not coming today. Take the loss. Suck it up. You're not the better team today. You are clearly not the better team. You weren't the better team all tournament, but you weren't the better team today. Eat the loss and stop being a little bitch and stop being a bunch of little bitches, Argentina.
Wow. You know, I will say, and I don't know if it was the broadcast or if it was from you that said, I mean, because you saw it when you watched the game, Spain took away their midfield, lights out, entire game. In fact, I think leading up to that game, Argentina was really winning on getting corner kicks, penalty kicks during the game, and nobody was getting anything within that rectangle of the goalie. They weren't. And Spain just took it to them. I was surprised that they finally scored, but because I was expecting it to go to penalty kicks. But yeah, I mean, that was all in all, hell of a tournament. You know, we talked a lot about that last week, but yeah, I don't remember actually seeing any Argentina players going up to the Spanish players to congratulate anybody. I mean, even in the Super Bowl,
turned.
even in the Super Bowl, they do that. You know, it's like,
yeah, yep.
Like you made it to the final game. It's like it wasn't your day. You know, you got a lot of shit to work on.
It's an abomination. Abomination. Yeah. Show some sportsmanship. This is the same thing. Like, and some people might be like, DJ, you're stretching here, but it's the same thing at like the casino, right? Where you may not have a great role, but you still have like maybe some people you're with, and they're still, oh, you'll get them next time, not a problem, whatever it may be, right? Or same shit where like somebody has a great role. Maybe you didn't make a ton of money, but you're still congratulating the shooter for the good role that they had,
Yeah.
right? Like shooter has a good role, you don't make enough money, and then you're bitching at the shooter for what? That's your fault. You didn't make the money.
You could have hit that number. Why didn't you hit that number?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't hit a 4 the entire time, but during my 35 plus roller, I hit 7 eights. Did you have anything on the 8? Did you press your 8? No. You were
Yeah.
trying to stay on the 4 and 10, hoping for miracles.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about because I've seen it and I've heard it, and it's bullshit, you
Yeah,
know?
mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. I don't understand it. And like, I don't know. I think like anybody can win with like good character and win with grace. It's easy to win with grace. Now, some people are still assholes when they win. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's easy to be the victor and like go and be congratulatory to everybody, right? But it takes, a different, I guess, person, or it takes strong character to still go congratulate people in the face of defeat. And like, I mean, Argentina, like despicable. I mean, I was appalled watching that. I can't believe that they acted that way. I mean, shit, they all of them can, like, I could care less what happens to that team now. Like, and I will still say Messi is the best soccer player as a human. I don't know.
Wow.
Questioning
That's
it. Now,
pretty
never thought he was a great, like, I don't know him personally to like talk about his character, but I can see enough about your character through your actions that I don't like it.
Yeah, that's pretty strong opinion and a lot of truth to it. So, yeah, congratulations for for both FOC FOS awards, well deserving to both
Oh yes.
parties, and you all will get your award in the mail
Yep.
sometime.
I don't know if I don't know, Craig. Is that the identity that they want to have? I don't know.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you're going into table identity because you're talking about character at the table. Um, Players don't just play the game; they play a role. Everybody plays a role. You probably see it mostly, and I have not been privy to a lot of private tables, but we've heard tons of people, whether it's Jeff, Lou, Ed, all talk about positions and at the table that are specific to specific people and their strengths and things like that. I also think it's like a mentality as part of the table, the different
Mhm.
types. And there's definitely all different types too. So I'd probably start out with like the shooter mentality or the shooter identity. It's the most prevalent one, right? Um, you know, players, some players genuinely believe that the table needs them. Like, you all aren't going to win unless I shoot. You all better start betting when I shoot. They're like convinced that their arm is made of gold, and they they came to honor the casino that night, and they should have a statue of them somewhere outside. The only statue of them is probably the FOC FOS award at some point. you know,
Probably.
but there definitely there's a mentality and an identity to the shooter. Um, what experiences have you had with people like that mentality or identity? Do you consider
Yeah.
yourself a shooter? Maybe not as, out there, with your voice during a role when you're shooting. But what are your thoughts on the shooter identity?
So I would consider myself a shooter. Again, under certain conditions. Not that like I can't shoot at different places, but I prefer specific locations, tables, that kind of stuff. I think too, it's kind of interesting. Like there's a sort of expectation of how we should shoot as
Yeah.
YouTubers and other stuff, right? Like there's usually that expectation of like people have that we should be good shooters necessarily, but like we've all talked about it multiple times on the podcast with guests by the two of us. Like some days are just not your day. But I would say like I would identify as a shooter. However, I'm not going to be like the in your face shooter. I am like one of the first people to get out of the spot. If I know that I'm not on that day or I'm not feeling it that day, like I will be the first person to be like, hey, you want this spot? And I'll go stand in the hook or something. So like I think it's definitely a very prevalent identity. Again, I think there's the good characteristics of being a shooter, but then there's also the ego shooters who are a little overconfident in themselves. And all it takes is 1-7 to wipe that confidence away. So
Yeah.
that identity, I think, becomes like, I don't know. I think there's two ways, I guess, to phrase the shooter: the positive shooter, or a positive light shooter, and then like the negative light shooter, who, like you said, right, they want the statue of them outside of the casino. Uh, you're never gonna get that. All right, the only person who may get that is like the lady who rolled at the Borgata for her 4-hour roll or whatever she had.
You know who I would give a statue to for as a positive light side shooter was that guy at Tropicana when you, Jeff, and I were on the table and we knew he was gunning for the ATS and he hit those 6 ace deuces in a row. Like, and why? Because he was quiet the entire time. Didn't say a word, didn't say a peep. If something didn't go his way, he just readjusted and kept going for it. We were like reaping the benefits, right? We were like,
Oh
holy
yeah.
shit, we were the loud ones on the table, but because we were just, it was just unbelievable what we were seeing. I mean, I've never seen 6 ace deuces in a row, let alone we remembered to bet on, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and
and in
somebody
retrospect,
actively trying to hit them.
yeah. And, you know, obviously in retrospect, if we had progressed the way we progressed today back then,
Yeah.
Chris, come
Would have
on.
made a fortune. Like, should have made a fortune. If we were smart, I mean, it would have turned every bet off and just, but
That roll brought me back to even, honestly.
yeah.
But I was down 600 and it brought me back to even. So it was just such a great roll to watch. It was such a great thing to observe, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you're talking about the shooter identity. And I think with that and the way you were describing it is there's a discipline to it. There's a discipline to being a shooter, knows what they're doing. It doesn't matter the position they're shooting from. That's irrelevant. It's about how you conduct yourself as the shooter, you know, and with more experience is going to become, you know, is going to come better bet progressions, better betting while you're shooting, remembering to press, you know, really get into a rhythm of how you want to bet, because that's going to make you give you an even stronger shooter identity, I think. What we're not talking about is the shooter identity. The people who think they have a shooter identity, but they're just banging the dice into the back wall to find 2 numbers that mean nothing, and then go like this and just chuck them. Like, what was the point of setting them? That is
Yeah.
not what we're talking about. We're talking about the shooter identity. But I think that goes into the next one I have on my list, which is like the anchor spot obsession. And again, there could be a positive and a negative the way you're describing the shooter identity, which is the anchor spot. That's the person that gets addicted to their spot, whether it's stick left 1, stick left 2, or straight out. Maybe there's somebody who really likes the hook. You know, we know Clay likes to shoot from straight, stick right 1, but his other favorite position is shooting from the hook. You know, but that spot becomes your comfort zone, right? And maybe there's a superstition into why you chose that spot, and maybe that's the personality trait you start to emit. But moving that person from their anchor position sometimes makes them act like, you know, you're changing their religion. like they don't know what to do. Like, wait a minute, I got to go to straight. I don't know how to shoot from straight out. But that's where you as an experienced craps player, you have to realize, then don't shoot. Pass the dice if you're not in your position.
Yep.
But by all means, the positive side of that is even though I would consider Lou a shooter identity, I think he's a mixture of the shooter identity and the anchor spot, because wherever Lou is in a casino where you are, everybody, I'm telling you, you put that man at stick left 1.
Yeah.
You do not have him shooting from straight out. You do not have him shooting from the hook. In fact, I know he probably won't play if he's at the hook. But if stick left 1 is open, that's where you want him at his best, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like the anchor spot is great, like when that person is like a Lou, right? Yeah, he has his bad days, but those are usually pretty far and few in between, right? The flip side to what you have mentioned, right, with like somebody not willing to leave that spot is like, if you are not shooting well, get the hell out of that spot. Let somebody who likes that spot and wants that spot to shoot from, let them shoot from it. And like, I mean, you and I both know a few people who, will not move off like a stick left 1.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, listen, I know you can shoot from stick left 1. That's fine. I have no problem with that. You're not on today. You are taking up a spot that somebody else at this table wants to shoot from. Let them shoot from it. Or my personal favorite, when the people who stand at stick left one or stick right one and don't even shoot.
Right. Like, what are
Like,
you doing? Obviously, they
yeah,
don't know enough about the game to do anything, but even the stick, like, look, gives them a little bit of a side eye. Like, I'm sorry, if you want to pass the dice, you're at the prime spot and you want to pass
yeah.
the
No,
dice.
that's like
Move.
going to a restaurant, getting the best table in the restaurant and not ordering anything. Like you order a water and that's it. You don't order anything else. And you don't even order like a sparkling water or like a bottled water. You order like tap water.
You leave after the appetizer, right?
You don't even order the appetizer. You came in for literally a glass of tap water. That's what you came in for the best spot in the restaurant. Like that kind of stuff really actually grinds my gears at the tables. And that is an identity that people need to get over themselves with a lot of the time. Like I get we all like stick left one or stick right one. Don't get me wrong. If I could shoot from there all the time, would that be my preferred spot? Absolutely. Why? It's where we all practice from. We all practice from around different spots, but where do most people practice from if they're going to practice? Stick left one,
Right next to
right?
the stick. Yeah.
What's the shortest distance to throw on the table? Left one or right one? There's no shorter distance you can throw. It's not possible. There's nowhere else on the table that's
Yeah.
closer to the back wall, which, again, right, we've talked about it. Less energy into the wall, less randomization of the dice, all that kind of stuff. That's what you're looking for, right? But just because you like to shoot from there doesn't mean you always have to shoot from there and doesn't always mean that you should shoot from there. Now, some people, there are a very select few of people that I will say should always shoot from there, but they know who they are and they are demonstrated and very well practiced, and they have, earned the right basically to shoot from there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, and those are probably the two strongest identities at the table, other than the people who aren't interested in being the shooter and aren't interested in really keeping the table vibe going well. If I think one of them's we talked about it in another episode about the table therapist, the person who you'd pay
Mm-hmm.
cash to just leave the table and stop giving you advice, but they're there. They're always there. There's always one who thinks, they're the emotional glue, and without them, you're not going to win.
Yep.
It's quite ridiculous. Now, some of them, again, I actually think all these identities that we're talking about, because you brought it up, maybe all of them have a positive part and a negative part. The positive part of the
I think they
table
do.
therapist is the person who hypes the shooters. You got this. You got this. You can do this. Look, you're doing great. Blah blah blah. Hit that six again. That you're doing awesome. That's great. It's the other kind that, are telling you what to do. Like, why would you do that? Why would you why would you change your set? Why would you do that? Like, to me, why, the question why, to me, it doesn't work in business and it doesn't work at the casino. All it does is brings negative energy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that goes hand in hand with my last one, which is the vibes person, the person who can either energize the vibe or crush the vibe at the table, because they're trying to gain control.
Yep.
You can't gain control of 8 to 12 people at a table. Like,
Absolutely not.
control your own bets,
Yeah.
and have a nice day and shut the fuck up. But I mean, how would you identify the table therapist and the vibe player?
I think like you said, I think there's a positive version and a negative version. Unfortunately, I think we get the negative version of
Too
all of
much.
these identities too often, right? I feel like the people who exemplify the positive piece of a lot of these identities, they're quiet. They're reserved. They're not actually going to go out of their way to show you that exact identity, right? But like you said, the vibe guy, like he's riding high when it's riding high, and he's the first one to let you know when something's going wrong.
Right.
And it's like, dude, we all have eyes. We know what happened. You don't have to announce it. Like, we don't need a play-by-play on the back-to-back-to-back PSOs that just happened, right? I don't need you slapping the table. I don't need you, like, cursing people out. I don't need you like sitting here. We all lost money. All right. It happens.
One person who knows that they fucked up is the shooter. So they don't need
Yeah,
any more grief than they're going to put on themselves for throwing the 7.
exactly. And like Ed made a good point, right? When he was on, he said, like he claims responsibility for every 7 that he throws.
Right.
Right? Analyzes it, all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of us do, right? Where like, and
Sure.
you just said it. No one's going to be a harsher critic on you than yourself. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like, if I PSO at a casino, Craig might be like, what the hell was that? And I know he's joking, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I hurt Craig's feelings by doing that. Like, oh no, right? Like, I might get some flack from like people in the group, but like it's in jest, and I know that, right? But like, I don't need some random dude at the end of the table going like, what the hell are you doing? Like, who taught you how to blah, 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 blah? Dude, you can't say anything to me that's going to make me feel worse than what I'm going through in my head, the fact that I just PSO'd.
Especially when, let's say, I'll give you the example of what, and I think I mentioned it once before, of what happened to me early on in my craps experience when I was downtown Vegas and I was at the Golden Nugget. And they had this guy who always seems to come. He plays on the end of the table. They call him Champ. Like, he spends a lot of money when he's gambling. But all that was needed, God forbid, and it had to happen to me, all that was needed for the ATS was a 6. And all he's
Hate that.
chirping at me with is, can't you throw a 6? Why can't you throw a 6? You know how to throw a 6, don't you? I said, what the fuck do you think I'm trying to do? Maybe if you shut up, I'll throw a 6. Of course, next roll was a 7.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that shit happens like everywhere. It's not just certain casinos. It's any local, any Vegas, any Biloxi. It all happens. But again, the toughest critic on yourself is yourself. Because here's the thing, you may have thrown a 7. There's no 100% guarantee that it was something you did. We've all thrown that perfect throw that just happens to end up as a 7. We can't explain it. We don't know how the hell it happened. Everything else was vibing really good with inside numbers, and all of a sudden, perfect throw in our minds and most of the people's minds who saw your dice stay together on axis, and 7.
Yep. Yeah. Now, when you brought up the your story of being in Vegas, this is also like I think some people can exemplify multiple identities, like they have like multiple personality disorder at the table.
Sure.
Because like it made me think of a time that I went with my neighbor to Valley Forge, right? And get to the table, and I was at stick left 2, which I don't mind there. I like stick left 2 there. But I'm at stick left 2, and I had just gotten there, like literally just bought in, and the dealers pushed me the dice, right? This guy at the end of the table starts bitch moaning and complaining because I didn't have action on the player beforehand.
Oh, God damn.
Right? So dealers pass me the dice. Again, I'm on a first name basis with all of them.
Yeah.
They know I would have had action if I had money, but me being me, not buying in mid-roll, right? So I displayed the etiquette piece that I'm not going to buy in mid-roll, but I didn't have action. And I said to them, I was like, you can pass the dice. I don't care. If this guy's going to cause a problem, pass the dice. Go ahead.
Right.
And the dealers were like, Chris, you're fine. Just shoot. I'm like, all right, fine. So I get the dice. And what's the guy do? Stacks a massive pass line. And he's just constant, nonstop. Like, well, now we got the new guy, got to follow up the great roll that just happened, right? And I'm like, all right, here we go. And I literally looked at the dealers and I was like, you know what? I had my outlay out there, had everything out there, right? I looked at the dealers, I said, pull me down.
Turn me off.
I don't want it. I don't want it. Because not that this guy was in my head, it's just he was just being annoying, right? And like, I don't need that when I first get to the table, so pass the dice around, right? And the guy who just had a good roll, because I watched him have the good roll, not all of it, but I watched the second half of it, let's say, PSOs. Now I look at the guy and I'm like, shit, right? I'm just like, well. And then he was like, yeah, he's good though. He just had a ton of rolls. Like, everyone needs to learn how to shoot like this guy. Craig, I'll give you one guess what this guy did when he shot. It's our favorite thing that people do when they shoot. I'll give you one guess what it is.
Is it with the dice or was it the roll?
The dice.
Did he shake and bake?
He shook and He shook and book. He was a shaker and a baker, let me tell you. But he was the setter. After smacking the dice on the back wall 6 times, he'd set them, then shake the shit out of them and throw.
Why?
He had a good roll. I got to
Why?
give it to him. He had a good roll. But then he PSOs, right? Now, mind you, guy at the end of the table still talking. Now he's talking shit on the guy who just had a good roll. Him and his buddy are not shooting. They're not shooting. They're just standing there betting and being assholes. So dice come to me. I set them. I PSO. I'm like, great. Of course I did, right? Well, my PSO wiped the asshole at the end of the table out. He was done. No more.
Then you did your job.
So I guess I did my job. I was pissed off, but he stood there, right? And the guy next to me, again, had a pretty good roll, right? And the guy was still standing there, but he walked off like mid-roll, and he came back. And when he came back, the guy next to me threw a 7. So the dice come to me, right? Because again, there's like 6 people at this table, but only 2 of us are shooting. Nobody else is shooting at the table. Me and the guy next to me are the ones who are shooting.
It can go quick.
So I get the dice, and this guy, oh, here we go, another 7 coming. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, all right. Well, Craig, he wanted to stand there and give a play-by-play of my roll. Unfortunately for him, it was not short. It was long.
There you go.
ATS hit.
Oh.
And he's sitting there kicking himself. And my neighbor's looking at me. My neighbor's so funny. My neighbor won't shoot. And like he loves playing craps, but like he loves me at the tables because
you're
like,
the entertainment.
Yeah. And like my neighbor's sitting there and my neighbor basically does what I do with the bets. And then like he starts doing some other stuff. But like he's sitting there and I'm looking at him because I can't look down the other end of the table because the guy's still standing there, right? And if I look at him, I'm just going to look at him and be like, where's your bets now, dude? Where's your bets now? But my neighbor's sitting there and he's like, Chris, you see my 4? I'm like, and I look down. I threw a couple 4s at this point. His 4 was at 100. He never had a 4 at 100 before in his life, right? He's looking at me and he goes, we feeling a hard 4? And I'm like, not with this set, no. But like, he goes, I'm going to throw a quarter on the hard 4. And like, he gets all like giddy when he like is in a good mood and he's winning. Obviously, he gets all giddy. Next tallest hard 4. So he's running around. He's being nuts, right? And the guy at the end of the table was getting so frustrated by it. And it made my day. But very long-winded story for how somebody can have multiple of these identities at the table.
Can we just say maybe we should have the first FOCHOF Hall of Fame? The FOC Hall of Fame, and it's going to go out for your phrase. Go ahead. Maybe it's spelled G''ED, but go ahead gets a lot of play at the table, I think, when you're on it, especially when your Philly comes out.
Yeah.
Like, you want to mess with me? Go ahead. You want to mess with me? Go ahead. You want to mess with my roll? Go ahead. You want to make me turn my bets off? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, like if I had to spell go ahead, it'd be like GA, I don't even know, HEAD, but like it's like a go ahead. It's the same thing where like, you see the Philly's going to come out at me again. When like somebody asks, did you eat, right? It seems like a simple enough question. Did you eat?
Right.
Jeet? Like it's literally Jeet. Jeet. And like around here, that's what everybody says. And everybody knows you're asking, did you eat? Right. But like it's just cutting off basically 75% of the word, and it's like, Jeet.
But I think go ahead is definitely in the Hall of Fame.
I think I might have to go on a t-shirt. Go ahead. I wish I could like animate the t-shirt because when I say go ahead, there's usually a shoulder shrug in there. It's like, go ahead. It's like shoulder shrug, head tilt, go ahead.
It might say on the shirt like go ahead or go ahead, but then it's gonna have ... and it's gonna have all the different phrases that go with it. Like go ahead and fuck with me. Go ahead and fuck with my roll.
Oh man. Yeah, I love that word. I don't know why I shorten it.
It kind of goes into the next segment here, which is the dark side of craps etiquette, because I'm sure a lot of go-aheads come out when craps etiquette isn't followed. It's a lot of it's just, look, when you get to the casino and you buy in, you're not the only one. Sometimes you are. Maybe it's 5 a.m. I don't know. But most of the time, you're among many who buy into the table. So you automatically enter yourself into a social contract. And that social contract has all these etiquette clauses that if you don't follow, you're going to get the side eye seriously, or something even worse is going to happen. But that's what this is. It's a social contract enforced by superstition, ego, and unspoken rules that can turn toxic fast.
You better respect it. You better respect it. But if you don't respect it, it becomes problematic, like you said. The other thing too is I think there's some people who try to enforce too much. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but like as soon as I saw the topic, I was like, I'm just thinking like the table police who
It's funny you mentioned that, and I actually have those two right next to each other.
Yeah.
Because I have the energy enforcer, which can go two ways, and the dice police.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts there?
Like, because we've all had that person, right, who's at the table who like apparently invented the game of craps and like wrote the handbook on how you have to act at a table, and like they have a correction on everything. And funny enough, again, side note, tangent, all of the above. I had somebody enforce etiquette on me once at the casino, and this guy was the table police. He may have been like the chief of the table police.
Was it
Um,
recently?
I was like last year sometime.
That's recent.
It was at my local. This guy, like, everything was a problem. He did like everything that anybody did at the table was problematic. And he was like correcting etiquette. Now, there were people doing a lot of stupid shit, which like I'm glad he was the one correcting them and not me. Because like I get sick of that after a while. But like he was even correcting me, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing anything that's wrong. All right.
Right.
And like the shit he was correcting me for was just pissing me off. Anyway, uh, he went on something, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was a bet like that I had, like where I placed my field bet. I think he was like getting on me for that because I was in the hook, and we all know if I'm on the stick hook, right? Like it's hard for me to get that bet anywhere other than the corner of the field.
Right in the lane, right.
And like when you have people who are bowling the dice, I mean, shit, any chip on the table is really in play for them. Let's be honest, right? But he was like correcting me for where that bet was going, and I just looked at him and I said, "Can you show me where in the craps handbook it says I can't place the bet here?" And everyone at the table started laughing, which I was very amused. I even started laughing at my own joke. Which I'm not sure, does that make it less funny when you start laughing at your own joke? I don't know.
Does.
It does, yeah. So I lowered the funniness of it. But anyway, he shut up after that.
The two ways that you lessen the joke is when the teller of the joke starts to laugh, and when you then have to explain your joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're right. You're right. These are the players who enforce rules that don't exist. Most of them.
Yeah.
They're the first to bark at you for how you're setting the dice, how you toss them, like you said, and how you breathe near them. I mean, they're like, hey, you should be going, and then throw the dice. Like, what? You know, they're not protecting the game. That's the thing. They're not protecting the game, right? They're protecting their ego and their sense of control. And that's probably why they have to project that they know it all or wrote the book on craps, because it's all about control. And if they lose control, they lose their bankroll. I don't know. The dice police. They're definitely a different breed of folks. But it's like, I don't need you around because I got the dealers telling me how to that you can't have more than 5 seconds. They voted at the back wall. Sir, you can't throw them that high. Like, I got enough people telling me. It's almost like I went on vacation one time, Chris, and we went with another family. And the wife of that family decided she wanted during the week to tell me what to do. And I was like, I don't need two wives telling me what to do. I do well with just one telling me what to do. So same thing with the dice police. I have a whole pit crew telling me what not to do with the dice. I don't need you next to me telling me what not to do or what to do with the dice. So have a cup of shut the fuck up and move on.
I gotta ask though. How was your wife with the other lady bossing you around?
Interestingly enough, it didn't happen in the same room.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was with my kids, and I don't know where we were staying was literally in walking distance to the grocery store. So I don't know if my wife was at the grocery store. Or if she was just in another room or something. But the other woman was in the kitchen making something for one of her kids, and then was telling me, I need you to go to the store to blah, 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 blah. That's all I heard. After I need you to go to the store, I just heard blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm only married to one person and she's
Yeah.
that way. Like,
I understand. I don't do well with people telling me what to do. I
if she had
don't.
turned to
Never
me and
have.
said, I'm sorry, would you mind blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or like,
I'll be right back.
yep.
You know?
See, that's the thing. Like, and it goes even with the etiquette piece of it, right? Like, there's a nice way to ask for something or a nice way to say something or to correct something. And then there's being an asshole or
Yeah.
just the wrong way to do it, right? Where in that case, she was wrong, right? And like, you can ask for something. Like you said, if you would have said, "Hey, would you mind going?" No, not a problem. What do you need? Right? Like that's what like I'd be the same way. Because I haven't had it at the craps table, but I've been known to not do what people ask me to do. It's like full of chips therapy over here. So
We are in session.
yeah, no, DJ was not the best kid in school. Not because I wasn't smart, because I didn't like being told what to do.
Right.
And I usually didn't do what I was told to do because the only people who could tell me what to do had the names mom and dad. Teacher wasn't one of them.
I wonder if you
But
ever used it at the craps table though. If somebody got on you and got on your nerves, you're like, look, there are only two people in this world who ever told me what to do. My mother and my father. You're neither, shithead. So back the fuck off.
I don't think I've ever used it at the casino, but I have used it in like life. I've literally said there's only 3 people now who can tell me what to do, but I will tell you my full line. Because that would be mom, dad, Mrs. Degen. But my full line that I use with that one is whatever the situation is, they could blah blah blah, and I'd be like, I'm not doing that. There's only 3 people who tell me what to do. Mom, dad, the wife, and if I listen, that's up to me. You're
There you
like
go.
you're neither one of them, and I'm definitely not listening to you. Like that's what I would say.
I bet you definitely don't take to people mocking other people at the table, like
No,
bet
hate that
shaming.
shit.
Bet shaming. I
Hate
hate
that
that
shit.
shit. You know, obviously you and I have talked before about we do not admire the half press bet progression. But if Joe Schmo next to me wants to go up 1 unit, I don't give a shit. I don't care about
I
his
don't care.
bets. I care about my bets.
Like, I will never tell you or anybody how to bet at a craps table unless
Ever.
you ask.
Well,
Like,
even if you ask, I might be
me,
hesitant.
well, no, like, because I have been asked before, like, what was that? Like, what did you do? Like, what was that move or whatever it may have been, right? Like, the one that comes to mind, like, very vividly is like the G Money special,
Yeah.
right? $40 5 and 9, pays 56, drop 4, go to 100, hits at 100, bring 200 back, you have 40 that's back on your bet, right?
Yep.
And like, I did that once, and somebody asked me, like, whoa, that was really cool. Like, can you explain that one to me, or like, can you tell me how to do that? And I'll be like, yeah, fine. And like I told them, and when they went to do the move, they, instead of dropping 4, they went to 90 instead of 100. So they took 6
Wow.
back. And I looked at them and I said, you can do that. I said, what I did was this.
Right. So it's
But
not
you
really
can do what you did.
right. You're not telling them that they're wrong. You're just telling them, if you want to know what I did, this is what I did.
Exactly.
Which is totally
And
different.
like you said, right? Like, I may disagree, I mean, like, vehemently with someone's betting at the tables. I'm not going to say it to them. I don't care. I don't care how you bet. I really don't. Like, and I don't know why people think people care how they bet. Like, I don't give a shit what you were doing. I really don't. And this was also back to the identity thing. This is one of the identities that I thought of. But it could also go into what we're talking about now, which is like the type of person who is needs validation.
Yeah.
Like, they need some sort of acknowledgement of what they're doing. Guess what? Your betting style will not get any acknowledgement from me. Why? I don't care. I really don't care. I will be happy for you when you win. I will not berate you when you lose. But guess
Right.
what? I don't care. Go ahead. Bet how you want.
Bet how you want. That's another one. Bet how you want. You know, earlier we were talking about the identities and you had brought up the shooter identity, and I may have been mixing the two because now I've come down to this side of the shooter ownership mentality, where the players think they own the shooter's role, which is kind of weird. I don't know why some people act the way they do when they're shooting. Um, but they do. They tell you what to bet as well,
Hmm.
and when to bet and how to bet. And it's just like it's not part of my mantra. It's not part of how I play because we mentioned it I think a little bit last week because once you do that, you now own their emotional however they are when that bet doesn't hit. That's on you.
Yeah.
You gave the advice and you knew you shouldn't have. And you did it because of ego, and now it cost you at least like a head turn. Some people giving you the side eye, maybe even the pit crew looking at you like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I have something very similar on like my notes when I was doing it. I called them the Conformity Congress. That like they pressure you into conforming to how they want to play, whether it be their betting, like just how they want to act at the table. Because I think a lot of people have had that, like where there's just somebody at the table who thinks like they own the casino, like they're Mr. Harris or something. And like you have to be a certain way in order to play at their table, like they own the table.
But they're the same people that they tell you what to bet, but that's not what they're betting. They're like, "Oh, you should put that in the field." Like my first question would be, "Well, why aren't you playing the field then?"
Yeah.
If you're not playing it, why are you telling me to play it? And it's like,
Yep.
oh, well, I have my bet on the horn high midnight. Well, can I do that too? It's like once you go there, you start you can go down a rabbit hole of crap. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
don't open your mouth. I think it was part of our tip of the episode. Don't do that. Don't give it betting advice.
Don't
Again,
do it.
unless somebody asks you, maybe because they're new and they don't know what they're doing, so they're just asking for any help whatsoever. That's totally different. We're talking about the people on ego trips who do that all the time, every time at the casino, and it's annoying as hell.
Yeah, and it's the same thing too. Like again, there's different problems, I guess, with the etiquette piece of it, and like I think another aspect of it. Now they can be a part of the table police or the conformity Congress or whatever, but like the people who like we brought it up before with the shaming or like the bet shaming almost
Yeah.
or like shaming of conservative players. Like again, worry about your own bets. Don't worry about what other people are doing. It shouldn't matter to you. It should have zero impact on what you are doing or how your session is going, how somebody else is betting. Like, if somebody wants to bet table minimum, let them bet table minimum. If they don't want to press, they don't want to press.
I think this happens more at local casinos, especially on the East Coast, and that's my final one, which is the silent punishment. Because this is someone, when someone breaks etiquette, the table doesn't always confront them. Well, that's not the case on the East Coast. People on the East Coast at locals always need to confront people who fuck up.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think we've been at a table with AC crew when there happens to be someone who's not the AC crew at the table, and they break etiquette, and we just go quiet, cold, like passive aggressive. Like we're just like,
Yeah.
and the person's like, "Sorry." You're like, "Yep, thank you." Now we can move on and be
Yeah.
lighthearted again and shift the vibe back to celebration.
Yeah.
But
No, it's true. I mean, I guess I fall into that a lot. Because I typically go quiet before I go like loud, I guess, for
no,
lack of a
because
better
normally
term.
No, because normally we just shake our head. We're like shaking our heads, like, "God damn it!" But we don't say "God damn." We just say it in our head, like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah, like it's like you get an eye roll, but like you can't see the eye roll. Like it's if you and I are standing next to each other, I turn and look at you and give you the eye roll
Right.
for what that person did at the end of the table. Now, is that right? Probably not. Like, should I be doing that? Probably not. But
I think the
it's
number
just me.
one. I think the
It's
number
just
one
me.
thing. I think the number one thing that we won't stay quiet is the mid roll buy-in. It
Hmm.
it just it pisses us off so much. It's
Yeah.
like, especially during a hot roll. Like, dude, it
Hmm.
could be like Cold City and PSOs, and you're like, "Ugh, we need something different. Like maybe that'll change things." But if it's a medium to hot roll and somebody does that, it's just like, "What are you doing over there?" And they're like, "What? Like, why are you buying in right now?
Yeah.
Why? We're in the middle of a really nice roll, and now you're gonna fuck up the energy." And then, of course, they don't make a bet.
Correct. See, there's two, like, I know we've talked about pet peeves and like things like that at the table. There's two things that you can do at a craps table to really piss me off.
Yeah.
One is buy in mid roll. And number two is, and I've said it before, have your hands out over the table. Like, those are the two things that I will not get quiet. I will pipe up immediately.
Right.
Regardless if it's me shooting or somebody else shooting. I don't care. I may not know the shooter.
Yeah.
Like,
most times you don't know.
I made a friend. I made a friend. Believe that, Craig. Can you believe DGen made a friend? I made a friend at my local because of that.
Yeah.
I was shooting. Somebody bought in mid roll, and the stick was about to pass the dice. And I saw the guy coming, and I went right up to him. You know how we do it in Atlantic City? We're on the table. Someone tries to sneak in. Nah, not happening. Right? I saw this guy coming up to the table, and he had his money out, and I saw it, and I was like, And then I was like, all right, is he going to set the money down, or what's he going to do? Right? Because I'll do that sometimes where, like, I'll have the money out in my hand, but I put it in the rail and, like, I just stand there.
That's what I do.
Yeah. But no, he, like, came in with his hand out already. I went around real quick. I was like, you mind waiting until end of the roll? I was like, if you need chips, I will give you chips. You can buy them off me. But you mind waiting until the roll? He's like, oh, sorry, man. I didn't know. I'm like, not a problem. I was like, guys having a good roll right now, like etiquette, not supposed to buy in. I was like, if you want chips to get in on the roll, I will gladly give you chips.
Normally we say that's something that something like that is something that we see all the time, but it's the opposite of that we see all the time. And that's the people who couldn't give a shit that they're buying mid roll. And a lot of times, Chris, I won't take it out on the player. I'll take it out on the dealer who accepts the mid roll buy-in. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? How come you don't enforce, hey, the puck's on? Because we've been at some casinos where maybe the pit crew does know what they're doing. They're like, just put your money in the rail. We'll come get you as soon as this rolls over. And they'll point at the puck. They're like, puck's on, not yet. And I'm like,
That's a good way to get extra tips from me, by the way.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. I was like, I will throw some tip money at them. I'm like, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I might give the eye to the person who tried. I'm like really? Don't do that.
Yeah. No, that's one of my biggest things. Like I said, there's very few things that like really grind my gears, but that's one of them. And like,
yeah.
It's just because it's, again, if you don't know, you don't know. That's fine. But most people know.
But it's like it matters.
It does.
It's like, and not enough people realize that who the majority of the people that play this game are not brand new.
No.
They've been playing
No one's walking up to a craps
enough.
table. Yeah. There's very few people walking up to a craps table who have not a clue what's going on at the table. Very, very few. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you want to see a battleground of micro egos and superstition wars? Go ahead and buy mid roll in Atlantic City.
Oh yeah. My local doesn't really let you.
Now ours still. I mean, and I look at them all the time. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're going to let this guy buy in right now? Right now. Yeah. Like I just hit 3 points and you're going to let this person buy in. But I told you that the worst thing that ever happened at the local was when I was on roll number 8 and not one, but 2 people balled in at both ends of the table. Very next roll, 7. But that was years ago. So now I know. I'm just like, somebody's buying a mid roll. I'm like, this is my symbol for turn me off.
Yeah, turn me off.
Turn me off.
Turn me off. Tell everybody around me I'd turn off, because, I mean, like, I understand some people want to get in on the roll. We've went over. There's ways to get chips if you want chips. But like the problem is too, let's be honest, the people who are buying in mid-roll, they're never buying in for something easy. Like now I'm not going to say I would have a problem with it, but like I wouldn't be as mad as if somebody's trying to buy in mid-roll, right? Like they do it as soon as like the numbers called, dice get raked in and like dealer pays the bets out. And then it's like, hey, I just want $100. Give me this. No problem. Like you say, I want $100, give me 96 across, do whatever with the change, or even give me the change, whatever. Like I don't have as much of a problem with that. And you give them $100 bill. But like when you hand them 20s and 10s and 5s, they gotta count it all out.
Yeah,
and do all that shit. Or
yeah.
Yeah, you're buying it like 1,500. All right, fine. We're gonna count out all hundreds. We got to do blah blah blah, and then we got to cut up the chips. It's like, did you have to do that now?
God forbid they buy in for 500 and with one.
I've never seen that. I'll be honest. And if I
Everyone has
did,
to have a marker.
listen, if I saw that, Craig, I would leave the table immediately.
I
Like
would
I
start
would get up and
chucking my chips at the person.
I would move off that table. You'd never seen somebody move faster. I'd be like Usain Bolt off that table.
Right. But I've seen this before, and it's and I can only say that it has to be because the person was a what do they call it? Not a local, but somebody who comes they play often. So the pit crew knew them, and I've seen them instead of buying in, they're like, $50 on the 5 and 50 on the 9, and they knew that he was good for it because he comes every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and so he didn't
Yeah.
want to buy in, but he still wanted to make a bet, and they allowed it,
I've
and then
seen
they
that
just
before.
and then the person did wind up sevening out a few rolls later, and so when he bought in, they automatically took the money from him. So
Yeah, like I've done that before where like I have the cash in my hand and like I'll go with a bet and like I'll set the cash on the side
right,
and like but again that comes with dealer knowledge of you, like that you are gonna actually pay it, all that kind of stuff. Like the pit boss, acknowledgement, all that kind of stuff. Like that does come with some sort of previous experience and whatnot. But yeah, like again, I don't have a problem with that. It's just the buying in mid roll, man.
what I don't like is when I get there and I've got the money in the rail and the dealer's egging me on to buy in.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, you could buy in right now. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy in. Guy's shooting. Like I keep my voice low. I don't even want to say anything because the guy's setting the dice at the current moment. And I'm like, I don't want to fuck with his roll. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not buying in. I'll wait for the puck to be off. And
Yep.
they just keep on going. It's
Like they need
annoying.
an off button. They need an off button that I can push and be like, stop talking. Shut up.
But why do we play this game, Chris?
We get obsessed with it.
We get obsessed with it. So I think it might be time for the top 5.
I think it is time for our top 5. Our top 5 today, Craig, is the top 5 reasons people get obsessed with craps. What is number 5 on the OBC list?
Number 5 for me is the illusion of control. We just talked about people with high egos and wanting control, and people love believing they can influence the chaos, whether it's dice setting, breathing rituals, lucky socks. It's all theater, man. But it gives a player a sense of, agency in a world that rarely offers any. Craps lets adults cosplay as fate manipulators.
There you go. I like that
Of course,
one.
I'm usually
I like it
cosplaying
so much.
as a losing better, but
You know what's funny? You said the lucky socks thing. It's really weird.
You ever
Very
worn
strange
lucky socks
tangent.
while playing blackjack?
Not lucky socks. I did have a pair of shoes though
Oh, okay.
that I wore. So I wore them to my local one day and I shot phenomenally. And like they were the perfect like worn in.
Right,
You know when shoes are like the perfect like worn in.
right.
So I had these shoes, right? And I wore them to the casino one day and I was locked in on the dice. Like this is phenomenal. Took them off when I got home, obviously. Next time I went to the casino, it was like 2 days later, wore the same shoes. And I was again locked in. I was like, what? So then I kept wearing these shoes for like multiple sessions. And I guess this is the superstition thing. Because did the shoes have any impact on my dice throwing? Absolutely freaking not. But I don't know, it was in my head. And then finally, like I was on a good run, like 6 or 7 like really good sessions. Then finally the 8th session was not so good. So I ditched the idea that the shoes were something. But like, yeah, no, I've done it before. I've been guilty of it. I have to, put my hands up. I was that guy before. All right,
Hey,
number
I've tried to wear the same shirt each session, and then I realized it's not the shirt; it's the fact that I have no discipline. So that's what it was.
I will say I do wear I do wear hoodies a lot to the casino because I do find that I play better and shoot better when I have a hoodie on.
It's funny you say that because if I'm wearing a hoodie, I feel that I'm freer with throwing the dice when I don't have extra weight on. So I just need a t-shirt.
So I find that I get cold in the casino with a t-shirt on, and that affects me more than being hot and having the extra fabric around my arm. But I don't know.
True.
Might just be me. Might
True.
just be me. All right, my number 5 reason people get obsessed with craps is that every session can be a story. Every session is different. There's no two crap sessions that are really alike for the most part. There could be a hero roll, a crushing 7, a crazy comeback, lessons learned, whatever it may be. Every session can be turned into a story. Be kind of cool if people wrote a book on every time they went to the casino with a story time. But the experiences that can be made are way more memorable, I guess, for the most part, than the actual wins and losses.
There you go. There you go. All right. My number 4, the emotional roller coaster. Is it coaster or coaster? I don't know. The swings are cinematic, right? 1 second you're down bad, and the next you're riding a heater that feels like a religious awakening. People get hooked on the volatility because it mirrors life's chaos, but with chips.
It's a good one. It's a very good one. My number 4 is craps is one of the only games with endless decisions that constantly keep your brain engaged. You rarely are you just standing there waiting for something to happen and like sitting out multiple rolls. Do I press? Do I collect? At odds? Do I get this number? Like it's constant decision making, which kind of feeds people's brains and gives them that itch, I guess they want to scratch. So constant decision making.
I like it. All right. My number 3, the identity hit, which we touched a lot upon in this episode. It's not just gambling, it's character development. But I think there are a lot of people, Chris, that maybe they're not seen at home, or maybe they're not seen at work, but they're seen at the table because they have a certain identity. Whether we just talked about the shooter or the hype man or the table therapist or the dice whisperer, any one of them, the table becomes a stage and people get addicted to the part they play.
Very, very true. Very, very true. All right, my number 3. You may have heard this one before. The illusion of control. People feel like they can affect the outcome at the table, and they strive to continue to affect the outcome at the table. And that feeling can be super compelling for a lot of people, even though we all know the dice, it's just probability. But they're chasing that ability to have some sort of control over the uncertainty that exists at the tables.
True. It's very true. That's why it was my number 5. My number 2 is the good roll myth. Everyone has that story, that legendary roll that changed their night, their trip, their belief system. That one moment becomes a personal myth, though, and players chase it forever, like gamblers chasing their own origin story.
There you go. Indeed. My number 2 is probably most people's number 1, but for me, it's number 2. So I had to put that little caveat in there. My number 2 is the high you get from the miracle roll that happened. Craps is honestly the only game in the casino that you can really have a very extended winning streak on one roll or like one person's turn of something. So during that hot roll, right, every number you're probably winning or it feels like a victory. And the anticipation just continues to grow and grow and grow. It's my number 2 because I personally have a better number 1 for me, but I think for a lot of people that would be the number 1 reason they're obsessed. So I put it at number 2, but for most people it'd probably be number 1.
So I originally applauded because I thought that was my number 1, but then I was reading my number 1 and I was like, he's talking about the dopamine high of playing the game. My number 1 is the social high. So craps is the only casino game where strangers become teammates. We've talked about camaraderie before. We've talked about cheering together and groaning together when something bad happens, and then celebrating together when, maybe a bonus is hit or some large roll has hit the 12th, 6th of the roll. But it's communal adrenaline, and it's a temporary group of people formed around a rectangle of felt. It's one of the most amazing things, and it's probably what first drew us all to craps. I know it was for me.
Almost like a brotherhood, would you say?
Right, right.
You know what my number one is, Craig?
Something having to do with camaraderie.
The brotherhood of the table. Craps is obviously the most social game in the casino. Like Craig said, we all cheer for each other. We're high-fiving, celebrating, all that kind of stuff. We win together for the most part. We lose together for the most part. You make a lot of different friends at the tables. You see regulars often, and it's really the only game that you are in it with a lot of other people, and the outcomes are shared by everybody. So number one, again, that's why I said this is my number one. For most people, the high of the hot roll would be their obsessed piece of the game, but mine is the camaraderie and the brotherhood at the tables.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I like it when we agree on the number
excellent.
one. It's very rare,
It's,
but
I mean, we're usually pretty lockstep on a lot of things, so can't say I'm surprised by that, but you know, just what happens when you have the OBC and the DGen together. Just like minds, like minds, like minds. Craig, great top five. What is
I
our
liked
tip
it.
of the episode?
Before we get to the tip, I want to ask you live on the episode, which doesn't make any sense because we're recording. Did you watch the trailer I sent you of the I Play Rocky?
Yes, I did watch it.
What'd you think of
I
it?
did watch it. I will be watching that movie when it comes out.
Excellent. See, that's a win for OBC for getting the DGen to the theater. Good date night with Mrs. DGen. So excellent.
Yes, I will be. I will be watching it. It looks to be quite good. You know me and the Rocky movies. I love them.
I know.
So something like that. I mean, shit, sign me up. I'll be sitting there first screening at midnight.
There you go. Love it.
Probably not,
That's
but
I know, but it still brings music to my heart to hear you talk about film that way. You know.
yes, yes. I mean, I do like films. I just have to be interested in said film. And sports get me interested.
There you go. That's why you should watch The Natural. But anyway, I digress.
I should watch The Natural. Craig, you know this. I have a list of movies that you have recommended that I watch, and it is on there, and I will cross
checking it
some
off.
of them off at some point when I am less busy.
When is that going to be? You just started 3 different channels.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
I'll find time.
God.
Hey, what am I going to watch on the plane when I go to Australia for 19 hours?
There, you better watch something. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna download a bunch of movies on the iPad. I can tell you that.
There, that's what I would do.
I don't know what the airline has to watch. It's probably gonna be like Top Gun Maverick for the 15th time. Which great
It's
movie,
so good
but
though.
it's so good. But like, I can only like I need to watch something else. So I will download movies on the iPad and I will watch those.
I'm going to put it right here on the podcast. It's one of the few movies where the sequel is better than the original.
You think so?
I do think so.
That's a
It's bold.
interesting take.
It's bold.
Interesting take. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree.
And I saw the first one in the theater when I was 11. And it blew me away then. But
yeah, I
saw Maverick with my wife, and that's the only movie that she and I ever went to the theater again to see.
There you go. No, I like both of them a lot. I mean, they're both very, very good. I don't know. I can't say that like the second one is better than the first one. But I will say I do agree with the sentiment that a lot of sequels are not as good as the original. And
100%.
Top Gun is probably the second one is just as good as the first one.
Well said, DJan. Critic. Who knew he was a movie critic? I didn't know.
I needed to put my movie critique hat on real quick.
There you go. I didn't know why you turned French, but all right.
I don't know. There's something about being French when you're critiquing things.
There you go. Well, you would know. You've been to Paris. I have not. So
I have been to Paris.
All right.
Need my beret.
There you go. All right. Tip of the episode. That's what we're here for. Your experience is your edge. Use it quietly. So the smartest players don't announce their wisdom. They apply it subtly, strategically, and without ego. Experience teaches pace. You know when to press. You know when to chill. You know when to walk, and that's an edge that nobody else has. Experience also teaches you patterns, not just dice patterns, but people patterns. You learn to, it's just like in poker, Chris, like when you're, I guess the best players in poker are the ones who can read people, not cards. And I think sometimes that's also true in craps. And by that, I mean, if you're able to read people and their patterns of what they're doing, you may be able to get away with some bets that you maybe normally don't usually make, but you're making it based on you read the table and the people around. Especially when you're looking around, you're seeing racks and you see one over there and the guy's got some pumpkin chips and you're like, what the hell are you doing? Because I want to follow what you're doing, or, follow suit. But that's what that's where the patterns come in. But experience also teaches discipline and humility. If you don't have these two things, stop playing, put your buy-in back in your pocket and go home. You don't need to brag. You don't need to coach. You don't need to flex. Quiet confidence keeps you sharp and keeps the table calm.
Great tip. Great tip. People need to maybe re-listen to the tip because that is a good one. That is a good one. Great episode, Craig. Hopefully the folks at home enjoyed it. If you are not subscribed already, subscribe or follow or do whatever on whatever platform that you're listening on. Do that. All right. Show Craig and I some love. Also,
Yeah, show us some love.
show us some love. Also, show us some love in the Patreon to let us know that you want to be on an episode. We're going to be doing the Patreon guest episodes coming up soon. All right. We got a couple people who are interested. Could do a couple more, maybe a couple episodes. So let us know if you're interested. There is a link down below for the Patreon. You can go join it. There is a post. So let us know. And if you don't want to do that and you still want to be on an episode, well, maybe I'll make a special exception for you if you send us an email, FullofChipsPodcast@gmail.com, full-length episodes on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Short-form content, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and the Patreon, as mentioned previously, is linked down below. Craig, take us out in episode 53.
All right. And that's going to do it for episode 53. If you learned something, congratulations. You're officially smarter than half the people yelling at dice on a Tuesday night. If you didn't learn anything, that's fine too. You'll still be back next week chasing the same heater that never existed. Remember, the table doesn't love you, the dice don't know your name, and your lucky spot is just carpet with commitment issues. So take your ego, your vibes, your imaginary influence over physics and get out of here. This has been Full of Chips, where the dice are random, but the delusion is consistent. See you next episode, unless you 7 out before then.
On the